today we're here with LeeAnn Massucci and Lori Brown. So if you guys just want to start us off by telling me how long you've been practicing law and how long you've been married.
You're up.
All right. I will have been practicing law for 30 years in November of this year of 2018. We have been married since December 12th of 2015. We've been partners for 26 years, since the summer of 1992. We waited to get married until after Obergefell. You're up.
Okay. I've been practicing for only 15 years. This is my third career. So I went to law school late in life, and I'm a little younger than Lori.
Did she inspire you to go to law school?
Absolutely. You know, I watched the impact she had on people and how much she loved being a lawyer. And so she was a great role model, is a great role model. And when I was complaining about, I might want to go to law school, and I talked about it for a long time, finally when I was 39, she said, shut up. I mean, go to law school or drop it. In 3 years, you're going to be 42, regardless of whether or not you have a law degree. So it was the little kick in the backside that I needed.
Awesome. So how did you two meet in the summer of 92?
Oh, boy.
We met during one of LeeAnn's prior careers. She was the tennis coach at Ohio State University.
That's awesome.
And I was friends with the softball coach at Ohio State University. And so we had friends in common, did a lot of social events together.
Yeah.
And that's how we met.
That's how we met.
Just hit it off.
Yeah, from the OSU connection.
Yeah.
We did.
Wonderful. So we've been partners for 26 years, is that
Yes.
right? So what's
Yes.
it like living with a lawyer?
Well, Lori is very even keel, very grounded, very steady, very consistent and reliable. And that's one of the things that makes her such a good attorney. Me, on the other hand, I'm kind of this, you know? I have my highs and lows. I'm a little more outwardly passionate, I'll say that, than Lori. Which fits with my career because I do domestic law. Actually, it does fit very well. But we complement each other really well. When we're in groups, at a dinner or something, every once in a while people will say, do you guys talk about the law? We're like, yeah, actually we do. We do. I mean, we talk about concepts, and I'll come back and ask her questions. She's always been a good sounding board for me. So we do. We balance each other personally and professionally, I think.
I think we do. As you probably know, what I do, a lot of it is confidential, so I can't ever use names. I can't talk specifically about what I do, but I can still talk about concepts or arguments or motions. And I love to help LeeAnn if she's at a place where she can tell me facts, and I can suggest options. She doesn't always follow my suggestions, of course, which is fine.
She's a little more conservative than I am. She's nicer in her letters.
But yeah, we actually talk about it a lot.
A lot, yeah.
So how have you maintained a healthy work-life balance while working in the same field?
I don't have a healthy work-life balance. I just don't. I mean, is that fair?
And I accept that. That's how we do it.
Yeah, I mean, Lori's got a much, as I said, she's much more grounded than I am, and she's got a much better handle on having a life outside of her career. Doesn't make her any less dedicated to her career than I am, but I get overwhelmed with running a firm of 7 attorneys and 14 people, and so I sometimes lose that balance.
I try and be understanding and be there. We are not hesitant to spend time apart. It's not like we have to be together 24/7. We aren't. We do our own things. If I understand if she needs to work all weekend, she works all weekend.
Yeah.
So same thing, if I'm out playing tennis and not around on the weekend, she'll go to work or find something else to do. So you learn how to make it work
Yeah, I think one of the things we do really well as a couple and why we're still together is we allow each other to have our own lives. But the most important times we come together.
That's really sweet. Like, look at me. So do you think you two could work together? I know you have in the past. So you want to talk a little bit about that?
I think we definitely could work together. The problem, I think, is that I'm sort of very definitely on the downside of my career. I think if I were 20 years younger and wanted to be part of a firm, we absolutely could work together. But I don't. I don't want to be part of a firm. I was, as you probably know, I was of counsel to, at the time it was Massucci and Klein. I was of counsel, which was a perfect role for me, but I didn't have or want that many clients, so I ended up working out of our house. So could we? Sure.
Yeah.
Will we? Probably not.
No. The good news for Lori is she's on the downside of her career. She's worked really hard, and it's getting close to time. Me, on the other hand, since I was a later in life attorney, my learning curve had to be very quick. And only practicing 15 years, that's not a long time in our area of law, in any area of law, really. So I've probably got at least another 10 years. So Lori will enjoy, when she decides to retire, Lori will enjoy retirement for a while before I hit that place.
So what would you two say is the most rewarding part of your marriage?
The family that you gain by joining two people together. As you all saw, LeeAnn's sister and her niece work here in the law firm. They also live here in Columbus. My brother's here now. So LeeAnn has gained a brother-in-law, two brothers-in-law actually, and I've gained the relationship that I have with her whole family and have had for all 26 years. That's the best part.
It is. I couldn't have said that better. And the other thing is, as we get older, it's nice to have that person that just gets you, and come home and if I'll come home from work sometimes because, as you might imagine, there's a lot of drama in my area of law, and my clients are basically oftentimes in the worst point in their life. And it's difficult not to take that home with you. And so sometimes I'll come home and I'll just say, I don't want to talk to anybody. Well, you're not included in that group. But if the phone rings, I don't want to talk to anybody. I just need to decompress. So and she gets that, and I get the stress that she's under and the balancing act that she tries to do with her hobby of tennis. I'd say it's more than a hobby.
Obsession.
Her obsession with tennis.
Yeah.
It's just nice to have that security, that mutual respect for one another, and that somebody that gets you.
That's wonderful. So I'm just adding in a new question. Is there any advice you guys want to give to maybe attorneys who are, starting to get married? Like, what's something you wish they knew about being a lawyer and being married?
That your arguing skills that you display in the courtroom should never be used in your house, on your spouse, on your children, on your in-laws. Save them for the courtroom.
That's great advice. That's great advice.
Do not cross-examine your spouse.
Do not cross-examine your spouse. That's great advice. In terms of advice for being married, marry your best friend, because that's what's going to endure. And truth, being honest.
Absolutely.
That's just a requirement.
Definitely is. Well, that's all we have. Unless you guys want to add anything else, otherwise we're all done.
I think the best advice is the insist rule that we have.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Why don't you explain it?
Years ago, I don't even know when we started this. I think it was right when we got together.
It's been a long time.
If, there are times when you don't agree on everything, right? And so we always said we were never going to, you know, the old adage, you're not going to go to bed mad, you know, you're not going to, but we don't want to argue about things. We disagree, but we don't really want to argue. And so if we couldn't make a decision, what we decided is you could use, if you wanted to, you could use and insist. You could insist on having something your way or your decision on an issue. The advantage is you get your way. The disadvantage is you relinquish that insist to your spouse on the next time a dispute may arise. Okay?
So you lose your turn.
You lose your turn. Okay? In 26 years, we've never used it. Neither of us have ever used an insist.
But I think for a number of reasons. One, we work things out well, but two, knowing that we could insist sometimes is enough to make you really decide how much you value what it is that you're asserting or arguing about or whatever it is.
Right.
And we sometimes it's actually hysterical because it'll be about silly stuff like you know, laundry left in the washer. You know, you've got to go get that out. Well, I'm not going. Well, I insist.
No, I've never said I'm not. She never leaves
I was
clothes
using
in the
it as
laundry. It's me.
So when LeeAnn leaves clothes in the washer,
There's always one.
so
There is.
I could insist that she go get them out, or I could just go do it. You know, so bad example, but good story.
Yeah, we laugh at each other, and she'll say, one of us will say, we insist on something only because that's a word that you use sometimes, and we'll look at the other one and go, you really want to use your insist on that? Because if you do, I've got a few things we're going to decide like in the next 20 minutes. Go ahead and use it.
So you're just waiting.
Yeah, I'm just waiting. I'm
We're both
stockpiling. You know, I'm a gambler. I'm stockpiling my insists.
Yeah.
I just think, you know, we actually have had that conversation with couples who are contemplating marriage. I think it's a great role, and it works for us.
Makes you decide like what's important.
What's important?
Absolutely.
You know, what's important.
Yep.
So, thanks.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Of course.